Hey guys, my name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing another "if you like this book, I think you would also like this book" tag video thing. I've done these videos a few different times on my channel, so all the previous times that I've done this will be down in the description if you would like to watch those. The last time I made a video like this, freaking my favorite booktuber Kayla over from Books and Lala actually read 3 of the books that I recommended. So now I feel so much more pressure to make sure that they're very accurate recommendations. Alright, so let's just jump right into it. So the very first one is going to be "If you liked It" by Stephen King, then I think you would also like The Chalkman by C.J. Tudor. And these are both horror novels. This one's more like mystery thriller, but it definitely has the horror vibes in it. And this one is more just like straight up horror novel. You know, it's It by Stephen King. There's a clown. These two books remind me a lot of each other though, because they both revolve around this group of teenage boys in the 1980s, and there's one redhead girl in their group of friends, and there's something like catastrophic that has happened to them that has brought them all together. And in the book it's Pennywise the clown, like they're all, you know, being tortured, haunted by this crazy clown. And then in the book The Chalkman, it's this murder that happened. It's just creepy as hell, and honestly they just reminded me a lot of each other because of like the 80s horror vibes in these. And I think I enjoyed the stories the same. I mean, I definitely prefer a clown as opposed to like a killer, you know, but they both definitely have great vibes, and this one is a hell of a lot shorter. If you liked one, I think you would like the other. The next one I have for you is going to be "If you liked This Is How It Always Is" by Laurie Frankel. I think you would also like "All We Ever Wanted" by Emily Giffin, mainly because these two books are very great contemporary fictional stories about families, and very specifically I feel like these two books deal a lot with parents dealing with things with their child and having to make decisions about their child and about their situations and not really having all of the information to do so. And in This Is How It Always Is, this story is about these two parents and their 5th son who wants to be a girl. And this story is just about their family and how these parents have to make so many decisions on behalf of their child. And then in All We Ever Wanted, this one is more like a situation that's this girl from a middle-class family gets this very racy photo taken of her from a boy from a rich family, and then he captions it with a very racist caption. And then this follows from the point of view of the parents of both of those kids involved and how they can't believe their child would ever do something that cruel. And it's just very interesting because I feel like these books talk about parenthood in such a real and raw way, and I guess I just love both of them for that reason. The next recommendation is kind of gonna be a 3-book combo. So I think if you liked Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, I also think you would really like Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. And if you liked both of these books, I also think you would like Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. All of these books have very similar vibes, I guess. Like they're all like contemporary but kind of literary fiction feel. Little Fires Everywhere and Miracle Creek are similar because of their literary fiction style. Like all 3 of these books definitely have that. And in this book, there's a lot of talk about immigrants, and there's like a big controversy in this book over this Chinese baby and whether or not it should be with its birth mother or with its adopted parents. And then in this book, it also talks a lot about immigration in America because it follows these Korean people who are running this business. But the reason why Ask Again Yes also fits into this is because this book revolves around this tragedy that happened between these two families, and this book really shows how this tragedy affected the lives of each member of the families. And I feel like Miracle Creek also does that because this book revolves around a tragedy. It revolves around this fire that happened, which also reminds me of Little Fires Everywhere because this book is a lot about this fire that happened too. But this book revolves around this fire that happened that may or may not have been an accident, and then how this fire has affected so many lives because 2 people died in this fire, and they don't think it was an accident. They are accusing this mother of killing her 8-year-old autistic son. And so these books are just very, very powerful stuff, and they just give me similar vibes to each other. So I feel like if you liked one, you're probably gonna like the other 2. The next one I have is "If you liked Dark Matter" by Blake Crouch. I also think you would like Recursion by Blake Crouch. And I know it's like kind of obvious to be like, well, of course, if you liked one book from the author, you're probably gonna like the other one. But for reals, these books gave me such similar vibes which I just really loved, because Dark Matter is this crazy epic sci-fi novel that follows this guy who wakes up in a world where his wife is no longer his wife and his son was never born. And then in Recursion, we follow in this crazy epic sci-fi world where these people are experiencing false memories and they're remembering sons that they never had, and they're remembering being married to this person that they don't even know. And so like they do definitely have similar vibes to me, similar plots, and the way that both of these books revolve around like memories and how our memories make us who we are it's so fascinating, and like they're both so good. I honestly probably prefer Dark Matter over Recursion, but maybe it's just because I read Dark Matter first. But like, I don't really know. I love both of these books so much, and I feel like if you like one, you should definitely check out the other because they have those same kind of vibes, you know? Alright, my next one is going to be, if you like Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, then I think you would also like Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. And this is for one reason and one reason only, and that is because these are both male-male romances that involve them being like roommates, kind of, or sharing the same room space thing. In Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, it's obviously a fantasy novel, so it's a bit different, but in this book, they're roommates, which just brings so much more tension, you know, because they're roommates. It's just even more like forbidden and just like great because of that. And then this is like a contemporary version of that story. Like this book honestly just gave me such Simon and Baz vibes when I was reading it, because this is about these two guys who live in the same frat house together, and they share the top floor of the frat house, so it's almost like they're roommates, and it just gave me very similar vibes. Okay, I know they're totally different books and genres and things, but like I feel like if you liked the aspect in Carry On of them being roommates and the tension there, then I think you would really enjoy that in Top Secret as well. Basically, they're completely different books, but similar things, you know? This next one is also going to be a bit of a stretch. It's a stretch, okay? But I think if you liked Room by Emma Donoghue, then I think you would also like On the Island by Tracy Garvis Graves. These books are totally different. They're both contemporary stories, but I feel like they just have similar vibes and kind of similar plots-ish. So in this story, Room, this is about how this mother got abducted when she was a teenager, and she had this kid, and the kid and her have been abducted since the kid was born, and the kid doesn't know that they're living in this room and being abducted. Like, he just thinks that this is like the world, and it follows from the point of view of this 5-year-old kid. And then On the Island is this story about how it's this very forbidden romance between this woman in her 30s and this younger guy who's very much younger than her, and she's going to be his tutor for the summer, and then their plane crashes on an island, and they're stuck on this island for like 5 freaking years. And I feel like these books are just similar because of the isolation that these characters get put into. Like, they literally only have each other to depend on, and in this one it's more like of a mother-son situation, and in this one it's like a romance situation. But both of these books are very similar, I think, in the sense that they deal with this very isolating, horrific thing in their lives together. Like, they only have each other to depend on, and then the stories also show what happens after they are put back into the world, and like how their lives are different after being put through this very dramatic, horrible situation together. I just think that that's so fascinating that both of these stories show that, and it's very interesting to watch a character that's been isolated for so long just get thrust back into the world, and to see like how their lives are different and how they're different as people together. But both of these books are similar because of that. I know it's kind of a stretch, but I think if you liked that aspect of one of these books, then you would probably like that aspect in the other book as well. Alright, this next one is also a tad bit of a stretch. It's like one thing in the plot that I think if you liked it, you will like it in the other book. So if you liked November 9 by Colleen Hoover, I think you would also like Birthday by Meredith Russo. And this is also only for one reason, and that is because both of these stories only take place on one day. So November 9 only takes place on the 9th of November for a period of like 5 years, I want to say, which is why this book is so cool to me. Like, I know that this romance now is considered a little bit problematic, and it's not my favorite from Colleen Hoover, but I really love the aspect of following the characters every year on the same day, and like that's the only time that you see these characters. And I just think that's such an interesting, fascinating writing style, and that's exactly what I loved so much in Birthday, because this book follows these two characters who were born on the same day, and we only get to see them on their birthday every year for 6 years, from when they're 13 to when they're 18. If you liked that writing style in November 9 of like only seeing the characters once a year, then I think you would really like Birthday because of that too. And I honestly think Birthday is the superior book out of these two. Like, this was a 5-star book for me, and it also follows a trans character, and it's just like one of the most powerful fucking things I've ever read. So like, this one is definitely the superior one to me, but this one is a new adult romance novel, but they're both really great. And the next one I have is, if you liked The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan, then I think you would also like Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. And this is mainly because these are two young adult books that deal a lot with grief, and they both have some magical realism that involves birds. It follows this main character who her mom has recently killed herself, and then she sees this bird that she believes is her mom. That's where the magical realism starts and ends with this one, basically. But then in Summer of Salt, this one deals with this young girl who is in this family who has magical abilities, but she isn't able to figure out yet what her magical ability is. And it's also about this bird who comes to their island every year, and there's this whole mystery about what's happened to the bird this time, because the bird hasn't arrived yet and it's supposed to. And so both of these books are just like these really cute but also heavy contemporary novels that have some magical realism that both happen to revolve around a bird. But I really personally loved both of these books. These were both 4-star books for me. They were really great and just touching and beautiful stories. Right, next up I have, if you liked Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, then I think you would also like Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. Both are contemporary stories that feature a main character who is very depressed, and I feel like in both of these books, the main character doesn't even realize how depressed that they are. And they also feature like some of the softest romances of all time. I prefer the romance in Evie Drake Starts Over as opposed to the romance in Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. But in this book, it has a Major League Baseball player. It takes place in Maine, and it's just like hella cute and hella soft. Honestly, this book just made me so happy to read. I think the main difference is that Eleanor Oliphant is a lot more of a depressing book in my opinion, but this one is a lot more of a cute, happier book that also has some depressing moments. But both of these are great, and they actually remind me a lot of each other. Alright, and the last one that I have for you is, if you liked The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne, I think you would also like Miss Everything by Jennifer Weiner. Mainly because these books are both have like literary fiction vibes. I know for sure this is literary fiction, but I'm not sure if this one is or not. But they're both also like historical fiction novels that follow from a main character who is gay. And so that's like the biggest similarity that I found between these two books. The Heart's Invisible Furies is about this man who was born in Ireland in the 1950s into a very Catholic church, you know, not very accepting of the LGBT community crowd here. And it's like his lifelong story of like his struggles with being a gay man in Ireland in the 1950s when it was unacceptable. And it's one of the saddest books that I've ever read, and also just one of the best. And then Miss Everything by Jennifer Weiner follows these two sisters, Jo and Bethy. And Jo is lesbian, very actively believes in feminist rights and just a lot of things that weren't as common back in the 1960s as they are now. I feel like these books are very similar, but they also give you different perspectives, because this book is talking about being a gay man, and then this book is talking about being a lesbian woman, and they both take place in historical times, so they're both just very fascinating and moving because of that. Alright, so those are all the books that I think if you liked one, you would probably like the other two. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you agree with that, or if you disagree, or like what your thoughts are there, or if you have any other recommendations for books that are similar to these too, then please let me know, because I'm always on the hunt for more book recommendations. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys soon with a new video.